Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Championship predictions for the weekend. Plenty of games coming at us again after so much midweek action. Sophie beat me in the predictions and she's here again. How are you doing?
Do you know what? I'm hitting a bit of form with these predictions. I started out really slow, so slowly pulling it back, maybe.
Yeah. If you guys want to win some money, maybe go for Sophie's bets down at the bookies, we'll see. Speaking of bets, once again, this video is brought to you by BetMate. Now, BetMate is a great app. We've promoted it so many times now, and it's certainly worth getting involved if you haven't already. We've always got our Championship 3 PM teams set out for the weekend if you want to join. It's 7-a-side fantasy football. As you can see, myself and Sophie have got different sides for this weekend's game, so get involved. The link is down in the description. You can pick your team for the Championship ones. There's also other pots, and you had a go at the weekend, and you won on the Leeds Villa pot, didn't you?
I did. It was just a random go, and yeah, I won it. So
before we get into this video, guys, once again, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, make sure to do so. And let's get into them, starting with Friday night's game, which is a playoff battle. QPR versus Reading. Both sides looking good. Reading picked up a good draw against Norwich, but QPR topping that with a win at Bramall Lane. Not many teams have won at Sheffield United. This is a tough one. It's two sides I didn't quite think would be in the playoffs. Maybe QPR would have fancied a little bit more, but fair play to Reading for being up there as well. I think both teams will get on the score sheet. I'm just going to go for the home side. QPR, very impressive to win at Sheffield United. I'll say 2-1 to the R's.
Yeah, so I didn't realise that leading up to this game, like both teams in the last 5 games, they've won 3, drew 1 and lost 1, just in like slightly different order. So it makes it very hard to predict which way it's going to go. 2
points per game.
But, yeah, very good. I'm just wondering how long maybe Reading can maintain that. I think it's more likely that QPR may maintain it, and I think, yeah, like you said, it was a great result against Sheffield United. I think they're going to get the win again. I think it is still going to be a tight game because for me it's two good teams going at it. So 2-1 to QPR. 2-1 to QPR. She's following me with that one. Let's move on to Saturday's games. We'll start at St Andrews as Birmingham City take on Bristol City. Birmingham's good little run came to an end as they lost 1-0 to Middlesbrough. And Bristol City we saw play out a goalless draw with Coventry. It's put their little losing run to an end. I don't think Bristol City were amazing, but they had a couple of good chances, but overall I'd say it was our own undoing. We should have really got something more from that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like both sides are capable of winning this one, but I might go for a share of the spoils. Birmingham 1, Bristol City 1.
Yeah, I was going to go 1-1 as well, so I'll switch up and say 0-0. I think for me, this game has just draw written all over it. Watch now, like, be very one-sided. But for me, just looking at this, it screams draw. So I'm just going to back a 0-0.
There you go. We'll move on to Ewood Park as Blackburn Rovers take on Rotherham. Tell you what, so if you've got their prediction right, they lost 1-0 to Cardiff, and you're right about Blackburn. Win, loss, win, loss. They did just lose, so I think you're going to go for a win. But I'm going to go for a little upset here. Okay. Rotherham picked up a point against Millwall, and they could do with some away points to maintain their reasonable start. And why not? I feel like Blackburn 0, Rotherham 1.
No, I'm going to stick with my guns here. Blackburn are going to get the win again. They're going to continue that little win-loss, win-loss. Not a great result against Cardiff, but I did predict that. Rotherham, I don't think that's too bad, and they're not in terrible form. However, I do see them losing to Blackburn. I think it's going to be 2-0. 2-0. Next up, Blackpool take on Watford. Blackpool keeping their heads above water, could do with another win soon. They got a 0-0 at Sunderland, which isn't a terrible result. They put in a decent performance. Meanwhile, you got Watford, who won 4-0 against Stoke and then lost to Swansea in midweek. So Bilic is trying to find his feet there. We'll see how many games he gets as Watford manager. One more bad result.
Yeah, one more bad result. The pressure's piled on. I'm going to say a share of the spoils here. I don't think Blackpool are terrible. They could do with a point here. Watford, a bit inconsistent. I'll say 1-1.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a fairly tight game when really it shouldn't be. Watford should be hammering these, in my opinion. But I don't see that happening. I do see them getting the win though, but just a 1-0. 1-0
Watford. Okay, next up we're back at the CBS. Coventry City this time take on Burnley. Quite a few positives for Coventry now. I know we're still bottom, but we are playing catch up. 4 games unbeaten, 3 clean sheets in a row, and you went to the game at Ashton Gate. I think we could have nicked it, really.
I think we could have. I don't want to single players out, but Vic, if he was a little less selfish, we should have been 1 or 2-0 up. So
yeah. Gyökeres did have good chances. Meanwhile, Burnley are a side I think will be in the top 6 this season. They're playing well, but something I keep saying now is they're playing well, but they're drawing a lot of games where they probably should have won. So the fact Burnley are drawing a lot, Coventry have drawn 3 of their last 4, got to go for a draw, 1-1.
Yeah, just before you said that, I was thinking this is going to be a draw, isn't it? Because Burnley do like to draw. However, I don't know. I just feel quite confident in City at the moment. I think it's going to be a tight game. So 1-0 City.
Come on.
Come on.
Go on, I'll take that. I know everyone, all the Cov fans in the comments are going to be loving on you and hating on me, but I feel like I'm...
Oh, you never back us.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I backed us in midweek and I was wrong, so I'll go for a draw this time.
I think a draw will play out though.
Okay.
1-0 City.
Next up to the Den, the Battle of the M's. Millwall take on Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough finally up and running. See what I mean? Sack the manager. You can see a bounce. Yeah. Meanwhile, Millwall picked up a draw at Rotherham, and I think we all agree that Millwall you have more confidence in them when they're at home.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go for my trusty 1-0. I'm going to go Millwall 2-1.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't know which way this is going to go, to be honest. As you said, like with Middlesbrough getting rid of their manager, it's kind of quite hard to predict. I did think they got a good result against Blues because, well, we did the predictions before their manager got sacked, and I thought they were going to lose that. So, yeah, that does change things a bit. But yeah, coming up against Millwall, I do think it's going to be a tight game. So I'm going to say a draw, 1-1.
1-1. Okay, next up to Carrow Road as Norwich take on Preston North End. Norwich involved in a 1-1 draw with Reading, but Sheffield United lost, so they've actually gained a point on them. And I think Norwich, they're still going to be in that top 2 coming into the season. I think they look quite good, and I think they're going to go back to winning ways here. Preston, I'll give them credit. They got a good win against West Brom. We'll come on to West Brom later. But yeah, good win for Preston and another clean sheet. Yeah. I just think Norwich are a different kettle of fish. And I'm going to say 2-0 to the Canaries.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it's going to be a tighter game than that. Preston don't look too leaky at the back. They got another clean sheet. They've had a lot this season. And yeah, for me, Norwich, that was quite a disappointing result at the weekend. They should have really been getting the 3 points there. So saying that, I do think they're going to get the 3 points though, but I think it's going to be a fairly tight game. 1-0. 1-0
Norwich.
Yeah.
Okay, next up to Stoke as they take on Sheffield United. Fair play to Stoke for bouncing back from the 4-0 defeat to Watford. They got a draw at Burnley. And then Sheffield United, they've dropped a few points in the last couple of games, so they need to go back to winning ways here. I don't think it'll be easy because Stoke away is not an easy game unless you Watford, I suppose, who won their 4-0 last time. I'm going to go for the Blades to just get back to winning ways. 1-0 Sheffield United.
Yeah, I think Blades are going to get back to winning ways, but I think maybe a couple of goals. So 2-0 to the Blades.
2-0 Sheffield United. We could see them back to winning ways because they've dropped some points recently.
Yeah, they need to turn it around a little.
Next up, Swansea take on Sunderland. Swansea are really the team to keep your eye on now. They've burst their way into the top 6. They've picked up 3 wins in a row, is it? They beat Hull 3-0. They beat, who was it they beat 3-2?
West Brom.
And then they beat Watford 2-1 in the 98th minute as well. So the late goals,
well,
very impressive.
Well, they were 2-0 against West Brom, weren't they? So.
Yeah, very impressive from Swansea. Up against the Sunderland side who've now picked up a couple of 0-0 draws. I think if anyone wins it, I'd probably go Swansea. But there's this thing with Sunderland where I feel like they can grind out a point when they need to. And I might say Sunderland deny Swansea a 4th win. I'll say 1-1.
Okay, no, I feel like Swansea, they're looking very good at the moment. I think they're going to carry it on. Sunderland being away from home, they're obviously not going to be the favourites going into it. And I don't see them getting anything from this game. So I'm going to say 2-0 Swansea. 2-0
Swansea. Okay, next up to the Hawthorns. West Brom haven't sacked Bruce at the time of recording. Once again, they might when this video goes out the next day. They're up against Luton, and I think one thing I'll say is West Brom fans would probably happily lose this game if it meant Steve Bruce finally gets sacked after this. Because
they can't be happy.
I know so many West Brom fans are so displeased, and I just don't get it anymore. Like, Steve Bruce is it doesn't work anymore. Like, what club has he gone into recently and it's actually been good?
I don't rate him.
You got Luton Town though, who are good, but dropped points, I'd say, against Huddersfield 3-3. But they do look good away. I'm going to back Luton to win this 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to back them to win as well, 1-0. And I think West Brom fans probably do want that to happen because I think one more loss for them, Steve Bruce has got to go. He's got to go. They're in the relegation zone. They shouldn't be there. And I think they're going to stay there if they keep Steve Bruce.
Next up to the DW as Wigan Athletic take on Cardiff City. Strange thing I noticed is Wigan were top of the away table, but bottom of the home table. So they're a very strange team in that sense. They need to get better at home. In fact, they did just lose away to Hull City. Maybe now they'll start improving the home and getting worse on the away. And they're up against Cardiff, who picked up a late win against Blackburn, and 4 points from 2 games for Cardiff. It's pretty good, but they are now away. And as I say, Wigan need to bounce back from that Hull defeat, because I think it's quite disappointing, really. Could be a tight game. I'm just going to edge Wigan Athletic 1-0.
I think this is going to be a really tight game. I can't really separate the two teams at the moment, so I'm going to have to back a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, there's not a lot in that one, is there?
No, there's not really.
Next up, it's the last game, and it's Huddersfield Town versus Hull City. This is an interesting one because they both did better than I expected in midweek. Huddersfield got a 3-3 at Luton, which is very good. Defensively not great, but going forwards it's showed they can score. And Hull City picked up a win against Wigan Athletic.
That
I'll give them credit.
surprised me a lot more, actually.
Yeah, because Hull had lost 5 in a row going into that one. They could both do with the result to make it a very good week. Hull City could go for 6 points from the week. Huddersfield go for 4. I might just edge Huddersfield as they're at home. 2-1 to the Terriers.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to back a Huddersfield win as well. I do think it is going to be quite a tight game because for me, these are two teams that could be in the relegation zone at the end of the season if they don't turn things around. Saying that, I do think the Terriers will get the 3 points, but tight game, so 1-0. 1-0
to Huddersfield. That wraps up our Championship predictions for the weekend, guys. As ever, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and do check out BetMate. The link is down in the description. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.